Hello Pisces, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section, we'll be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and help to your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you are a cross watcher, just know this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Pisces, let's jump on in. We're going to start with looking at overall energy through oracle cards first. So we're going to look at your energy toward the connection, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it with oracle cards, and then we will dive deeper into the reading with tarot as we progress. But let's first start here. Pisces, with your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. This is for Pisces side of the connection. Confusion. With synchronicity. Okay. I feel like when it comes to this connection, there's this energy of feeling really torn. And when it comes to feeling really torn with the connection, it's not that you're torn about how you feel about this person. I feel like your feelings toward them are very clear, but I feel like you're torn in how to move forward with this. And I think the big part of that is that there are times where things like feel good and you feel like things are on the right track and you feel very clear in this. And then there are times when you feel like you are just not getting what you need. And I think that that makes you feel confused, because especially if your feelings are so strong, there's this part of you that's like, but I could see, I see how good this could be, or I see where we could get to. And I feel like you find yourself really being drawn back toward this connection or drawn into this connection, even if you've tried to withdraw or if you've tried to create distance or whatever the case is. So yeah, there's an energy of feeling really torn, not really knowing how to approach it, like wanting things to work out in the back of your head, but like also being unsure if it's possible and kind of bouncing back and forth there. And I think this has overwhelmingly been very difficult for you. This person's energy toward you, Pisces. Whoa. Separation. Whoa, okay. I feel as if this person either walked away from this connection or did something to push this connection into separation. They either walked away or they did something that pushed you to walk away. And I feel like why you're feeling so confused is I feel like there was a time where this connection felt like it was supposed to be like it was just everything you wanted. And so I feel like this whatever happened, whatever this person did to kind of push things into separation, I feel like it makes things really hard for you, because there is still a lot of love and care that I feel like you have for this person. But I also feel, because here's this deja vu card, I feel like there's something repetitive that they do that puts you in this position of like kind of hitting a limit where you're like, I can't keep putting up with this, or I can't, like, I deserve more than this. But then again, you kind of feel that being drawn back in. This is confusing too, because underlying this person has a dream come true. So it feels as if this person has really, strong feelings toward this connection. It feels like they want things to work here, but then it's like, well, then why did you do this? Or why are we in this position then? But let's look at the truth in between the connection. Wild card. So things are really up in the air when it comes to your connection with this person. And I think that there's a lot of like sadness around that. The next card you have is Euphoria. I think that there's a lot of sadness around that and a lot of kind of processing and trying to make sense of things. But yet this Euphoria card is really interesting because I think that this connection has this ability to make you feel like better than you've ever felt before in a relationship, or like that there's, you know, so many good times or so many good experiences or so much good about the connection that it feels hard to, because it kind of feels like maybe you feel as if a lot of that got thrown away. But I feel like there's something about this that will help provide you with a little bit of clarity here. Because, yeah, going from Euphoria to this wild card energy, things feeling up in the air, things feeling uncertain, not really knowing what's going to happen next. And like, even if there is a separation here, I feel like there's still a connection. So that makes things extra complicated. Okay. Overall theme of this energy here, Pisces, between you and this person. Something like a specific card or something. I need to reach out. So you still feel kind of a draw toward this person, toward the connection. You still miss me. There's this energy of like thinking about them a lot, you know, kind of constantly them being on your mind. But then you have miscommunication, feeling as if things unfolded a certain way because of miscommunication. There's a lot here. There's a lot going on. And again, I do feel like you jump back and forth where it's like, no, like I love this person, I care about this person, like I want things to work, to then like the other end of the spectrum, you're like, I can't do this, or I don't want this, or I deserve better. I feel like you and this person have a really hard time communicating. Doesn't mean you don't talk, but there is a difficulty with communicating. You know, because communication is very different than speaking to somebody. Because communication is being able to vulnerably express how you feel, the other person being able to, you know, take that in without defensiveness, but then kind of flip side, right? Them being able to vulnerably express how they feel without, you know, you getting defensive. And it just feels as if there's a lack of clarity here and understanding, which creates a lot of like trying to read between the lines or trying to make sense of things, which can spark a lot of insecurity, especially if it's like, I just don't understand why this happened or why they did these things, like trying to make sense of it. I feel like that's the position you're in, trying to make sense of things. Pisces side of this connection, confusion with synchronicity. So let's see if we can bring through some of that clarity here. I feel like there was a betrayal or an abandonment of some sort here. Like, yeah, like a betrayal. 5 of Swords, because your defenses are up when it comes to this person and it comes to this connection. That's the push-pull that I kind of feel. The Tower, something happened. I don't know what it is, but something happened. 8 of Cups that pushed somebody to walk away. Some sort of tower led to the 8 of Cups. And now your guard is really up with this person. But there's still desire here, which makes things extra complicated. King of Swords in reverse. Pisces, you're really in your head about this connection and about kind of what's really going on here. I also feel like there's a lack of honesty about how you feel. There's a lack of honesty about how you feel. Or like feeling as if you like your side was never heard, or as if you never felt fully understood. I don't know. Like your feelings weren't taken into consideration. It almost feels like you feel like this person doesn't care. But I don't think that's the truth at all. I do feel like they care, but you also could be dealing with an air sign, Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. You don't have to be, though. Pisces side of this connection. Lovers in reverse. Feeling as if your worth wasn't seen, or like you weren't valued according to what you deserve to be valued at. I feel like that brings a lot of frustration to the surface for you. Because I do feel like you've poured a lot into this connection. And there's this like, why the hell like did this happen? Or why did you do this? Or why are things like this? Like there's a lot of frustration here. It's not that there's not love, because I do feel like there is, but it's like that flips back and forth between like, I do love and care about this person, to like, oh my gosh, I just want to, Aquarius. I almost said Aquarius' side. That's interesting. You could be dealing with Aquarius. Pisces side of the connection. The Death. So yeah. I see this representing some sort of cycle surrounding your relationships. There's a lot more going on here than you think, specifically around like this person's role in your, like spiritual journey or healing journey. Queen of Cups, Three of Cups, Knight of Cups in reverse. Oh yeah, I mean, it's like you want them back, or like you want the connection to work, or like you want to go back to how things were, but then like you remember everything that happened and you're like, actually never mind. Especially this Three of Cups and Knight of Cups in reverse. It's almost like the desire of wanting the connection to work is actually very triggering. It's just, there's a lot here. And I think that that makes sense. This confusion makes sense. I feel like, again, you're not confused about how you feel about this person. You're confused about like what to do with how you feel. Because yeah, this person's put you through a lot. Five of Cups. There's a lot of sadness and grief and frustration and overwhelm. Eight of Pentacles. I mean, there it is. You've put a lot into this. And then the Eight of Cups. Put a lot into this just for things to end up like they did. Okay. All right. Well, then let's just see what the hell is going on with their side. Because this is obviously just telling me your side of the story. And you probably know your side of the story pretty dang well. So let's see what's going on with their energy. Why won't those cards? Goodness. Deja vu with separation. This person's energy toward you. The Hierophant. Oh, in reverse. Nine of Wands. Three of Wands, upright. Seven of Wands in reverse. There's a lot of wands here. So that's fire sign energy. But this is also, I mean, this was a lot of air sign energy. So, I don't know. Ace of Pentacles. Oh. Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Ace of Wands with the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Sorry. A lot coming through. I feel like I'm being very cryptic right now. I'm not trying to be. There's a lot coming through. Okay. So this connection, in this connection, the feelings are mutual here. There's no doubt about that. Both people really did want things to work in this connection. However, I feel as if this person, really, because with the Seven of Wands in reverse, there's this lack of belief that they're good enough for love. There's a lot of insecurity here, is what it boils down to. There's a lot of insecurity here. And that insecurity, I feel like that insecurity that this person carries really drove a lot of their decisions in this connection. And I feel it ultimately, and I don't know what that really looked like, but it drove them into whatever, because like I said, I felt like there was a betrayal here. Drove them into some form of betrayal. I mean, and that can look like so many different things. So I want to be careful. Because I know, it depends on your story, your situation. But it drove them into some sort of betrayal. And the thing that I'm kind of gathering, and this is where I feel like Spirit is trying to be a little bit about things here, is it feels as if there's not a whole lot of reflection or getting honest about how they messed up. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't realize that they messed up. That's not what I'm saying. But someone can be like, oh yeah, I messed up, but then not do the reflection to make sure they don't mess up again, right? Because the only real apology in life, no matter who you're dealing with, the only real apology is changed behavior, right? But if there's, you can mess up and be like, oh yeah, I messed up. Sorry about that. But then if you continue to mess up over and over and over again in the exact same way, that apology becomes meaningless because there's not really actually any awareness or growth here. That's a lot of the energy that this person carries. And I'm getting that kind of with the deja vu. It's like they have a tendency to do certain things, and I don't really know what that is, okay? I don't. And I don't really think I'm supposed to know, because this is your story, not mine. They do some things that are very driven by insecurity. And then they turn around and they go, oh, oops, I messed up, maybe apologize or don't, I don't know. But then try to move forward as if everything's fine. But the thing is, and where I feel like there's a need for you to be very kind of aware here, is I do feel that this person wants another chance with the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like they want another chance to make this connection work. But if we, just as humans, if we don't get honest about what drives us into essentially self-sabotaging behaviors, if we don't get honest about why we do the things that we do, and we aren't actively working on showing up in healthier ways, both for ourselves and for other people, we're going to repeat the same mistakes. It's like somebody getting frustrated about this is a silly example. This is a really silly example, but it's coming to mind. I have been lactose intolerant told you this silly, for a really long time in my life. But I ignored it for a really long time too, because it was kind of like a late onset. And anytime, and I love all things dairy. Like I love ice cream. I love creamy pasta. Like I love all things dairy. It really was a very difficult transition in my life. But partially joking, but for so long I kept eating dairy. I kept doing, what I wanted, just did it. And then after the fact, I'd feel really, really sick. I'd get horrible stomach aches. I'd feel really, really sick. And I'd be regretful of eating dairy. But then I would do it again. Like I would do it no matter, how I knew it was going to make me feel. Like despite the consequences. Until eventually one day I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to love myself more than this and I'm going to stop doing this. What I'm trying to say is I feel like this person has certain behaviors that they carry in relationships that lead to certain results. And in hindsight, like when they experience the consequences of their actions, they go, oh, I really regret doing that thing, or I really regret, doing whatever. But instead of like sitting there and being like, well, why do I make these decisions? I do these things because I feel insecure and I don't know how to handle those feelings, so I self-sabotage, whatever the case might be. Instead of sitting there and reflecting, they just move forward from it and then do it again. And I think that where you're feeling really torn is you do see what this connection could be and look like if this person were to do some like very real self-reflection and to change, right? Were to do things a little bit different and to show up different. And I think that, what makes it hard is you're then consistently seeing them being the version of themselves that they are right now. Because everybody has the ability to be the best version of themselves, and everybody has the ability to be the worst version of themselves. And the extent to which we fall on that scale is going to be very dependent on your healing, your growth, and, kind of just self-awareness, emotional awareness, and your ability to recognize traumas and triggers and unhealthy patterns and to change, right? That's where we kind of lean more toward being, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But that's not what this is about. This isn't like, oh, this person made a mistake. This is like a repetitive thing, a repetitive pattern. And what Spirit wants you to be aware of is, yes, they might want another chance, but they haven't changed. Therefore, their behavior would be the same. So I feel like there's a need to just pay attention to that. Just bring a little bit of awareness, just some discernment as you approach this. And for some of you, you might be like, I don't want that. But for others of you, you might still kind of be like, well, maybe this time will be different. Just be careful, I think, is what Spirit's trying to say. Because I do feel as if this connection is a cycle for you. And recognizing what that cycle is can really help you break out of it. Now, the other thing is, you might be like, oh, I don't want that person back at all. Sometimes cycles exist not just in one person, but in multiple people. So again, in order to, attract something different or better, we do need to be aware of this cycle. Why do I keep attracting this into my life? What is this representing for me? What do I need to heal, grow, and, learn from, evolve, and what ways do I need to evolve in order to, move forward in alignment with my higher self? So I feel like Spirit's asking you to kind of take a step back a little bit. Again, for some of you, that might be easy. For others of you, you might be like, no, like, ugh, I really care about them, or I really want this to work. So I don't know. Just, yeah. The only real apology is change behavior. The best thing I ever learned. All right, we're going to hop on over to the extended. We are going to explore this a little bit more. We're going to dive into this a little deeper. You have Wildcard with Euphoria. So we're going to look at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. I'm going to pull 12 more tarot messages, and I've got an advice card that I'll close out that extended reading with. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Pisces, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Pisces.